Let's get this series of operating stealth antennas in the HOA kicked off with a bang. One of my favorite antenna systems is the MPAS 2.0 from Chameleon Antennas, and specifically that CHA Hybrid Micro with the 73-foot Endfed wire. That's the station reference antenna here at the QTH. I'll post a link to video 1 in the series. Remember, this isn't a debate on OTARD or whether one should or shouldn't live in a homeowners association. This video series is about sharing ideas for how hams who've chosen to live in a homeowners association can operate effectively. With the exception of the 73 feet of wire on that winder, the CHA Hybrid Micro, the CHA ground spike, the military extension at 105.5 inches, and the 7-element man-pack collapsible antenna at 113 inches long, you end up with a vertical antenna at 18 feet and 2 inches approximately. Unless I'm testing a new antenna for my miniature go bag or for the channel, this is always my antenna of choice for POTA operations. Reason being, it's easy to set up, it hears, and it gets out. This antenna is also a great option for operating backyard portable at the HOA because it is so easy and so quick to set up and break down. And it will be at some point in the future compared to the actual Endfed wire that we're showing you today. We're going to grab the CHA Micro and the 73-foot wire and show an Endfed configuration today. And the reason we're starting there is because this is the reference antenna. All other antennas that we show in this series in the future will be compared to this Endfed antenna. The other end of my wire is about 30 feet up in the air. The first time I installed this antenna about 3 years ago, I threw a line up in the tree and pulled the wire up, and that's how I first operated with it. All that's left to do at this point is attach the antenna wire to the top of the micro and install the strain relief to keep the tension off of the wire itself. I quickly realized this was an antenna I wanted to use permanently at the QTH, and so I had to come up with a way to move it out of the lawn, get this CHA Micro and the ground spike out of the lawn so I didn't have to worry about it when my lawn service came by, or I didn't have to think about, is anybody noticing this in my yard? What can I do to make this covert here in the HOA? And that's primarily what I want to share with you today. It was as simple as buying this polymer box off of Amazon and modifying it so my wire could come in the top and the CHA Micro out the bottom. And then it just blends into the wall on the house. It looks like any other utility. It begs the question, why when I have purchased an antenna with a box already attached to it so I didn't have to go through this extra work? First, if I ever have to take this antenna down permanently, I now have an extra CHA Micro for portable ops. And secondly, it's because of how well this antenna operates. It's a known antenna to me. I know how well it performs. Remember my working conditions: 100 watts, single sideband voice, primarily on 10 through 40 meters, a little bit on 80, and just a smidge on 160. And the majority of these QSOs at the worst of the solar minimum. We took this antenna down in preparation for Hurricane Ian. There was a period of time that we were right at the center of the cone of uncertainty, 36 hours before landfall, and I did not want a wire blowing in Category 4 and Category 5 hurricane winds, if indeed that's what we were about to experience. So we took this down and then began to rely on antennas in the attic space of the garage, and that's how I followed the hurricane watchnet at that point in time. Just a couple of days ago, we put the antenna back up again. So I just want to share with you some of the methods and ideas that I used in installing this antenna, and hopefully you can use that as a springboard to help you get up a wire antenna safely in your QTH. Here are the modifications to the polymer box. In the top right-hand corner, I drilled a hole and put a rubber grommet there. That's where the antenna wire will come through. The bottom right hole is for the post of the CHA Micro. There's also a hole drilled through that metal L bracket, and the CHA Micro will go through that L bracket through the bottom of the polymer box, and then it'll get a washer and nut on the bottom. The bottom middle hole will allow a right angle PL259 connector to go through and connect to our unun and then to our feed line. We have our utility box prepped. We're going to get the CHA Micro attached to our unun and get some waterproof tape around it and get ready to attach the whole box with the CHA Micro out onto the garage wall. I have taken a plastic enclosure and we want it to just blend in with the rest of the house. So that's why I'm using this enclosure. The Chameleon HOA Micro, you know, it's made for outside. This is one of the older units. It's the black unit. Had it for several years now. They come in white now, I believe. But to make it completely camouflage, I want to use this plastic enclosure. I've already used it previously. I've customized it to put a bracket here to hold the HOA Micro tight. All right, my L bracket, it's into the concrete wall, and that's holding my HOA Micro steady. You would never even know there's a HOA Micro back there, would you? Let's get our antenna wire through the top of the polymer box. We will get the shackle attached to that strain relief, and then finally we'll get the antenna wire attached to the HOA Micro itself. With our antenna wire hooked up to the HOA Micro, all that's left to do is to run our feed line over to our single point distribution panel and then into the corresponding switch in the shack. Were we successful in hiding the 73-foot Endfed antenna in plain sight? Well, you can indeed see my wire as it slopes up to its 30-foot perch. But this is from the side yard. From the sidewalk, the front road, the backyard, you can't see that antenna. And the HOA Hybrid Micro, it's completely camouflaged in what looks like a utility box hanging on my wall. Check, camouflage. And here's a clear look at the antenna wire. It's not clear at all. You can't see it, can you? I have a hard time picking it out, and I know precisely where it is. When I'm walking down the sidewalk, I have difficulty finding it. It's a stealth wire hiding in plain sight. I hope you found something useful in this video that you can springboard off of onto an idea that fits at your QTH, your working conditions. Perhaps it's not a 73-foot Endfed. There will be plenty more videos coming on a lot more ideas on different ways that you can get on the air. Talk to you soon, friend. 73.